Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. has expressed his concerns about Beijing's new maritime policy in the South China Sea, this days ahead of his keynote speech at the Shangri-La Dialogue in Singapore. That is where he is also expected to touch on a contentious issue that has strained relations between China and the Philippines. CNA's Buena Bernal tells us more.
The agreement
a worrisome escalation. This is how Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. described a Chinese regulation set to take effect on June 15 that would impose a 60-day detention without trial on supposed trespassers on waters that China claims. China claims some 80 to 90% of the South China Sea, covering the maritime zones of other countries. These zones are based on the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, which designates the belt of sea that a country can claim based on distance from its coast. Now, this Chinese regulation was approved on May 15, while a Filipino civilian-led mission to Scarborough Shoal was ongoing. Now, the shoal is a triangle of reefs and rocks whose inner lagoon has been controlled by China for 12 years now, despite an international arbitration ruling that area as a common fishing ground among China, Philippines, and Vietnam. Now, the policy exacerbated factionalism among locals and local fisher folk who are now discouraged from exercising their fishing rights out of fear of possible detention. A local councilwoman in the northern Philippine province of Zambales, where these fisher folk relying on Scarborough Shoal are based, even publicly decried the civilian mission, as some quarters saw it as a provocation that might have led to the issuance of this regulation. However, I spoke to advocates who see the Chinese regulation as a mere divide-and-conquer tactic by China. I also spoke with Filipino scientist Clive Arguedas, who says that this factionalism only undermines the Philippines' position on this issue, as it takes away the attention from China, who he called, quote-unquote, the bully that was causing the infighting to begin with. Meanwhile, the Philippines Department of Foreign Affairs expressed serious concern earlier this week over this regulation. It also filed a diplomatic note in protest of an annual 4-month fishing ban imposed by China that covers Scarborough Shoal. This diplomatic protest is the 25th such protest filed by the Philippines against China this year, out of 158 such protests under the administration of President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. Buena Bernal, CNA, Makati in Metro Manila.